In this video, you're going to learn how to train your dog to do a nose-to-hand target. We call this skill touch. So the dog's nose is going to touch your hands when you drop your hands down to your side and say the word touch. We train this first by using our hands as the touch object. It's fine if you just keep it with your hands being the touch object. But you can expand on this skill by asking your dogs to touch other objects. And later on in this video, you're going to see a touch stick that dogs and other animals are trained to target to. The possibilities with this are endless, though, in terms of the different objects you can train your dogs to touch. This training involves a skill called shaping. So we're going to gradually train our dogs to nose target our hand and then that touch stick. So enjoy. This trick is pretty cool. So moving forward, the first thing you're going to do is roll the treat in your hand so that your hands start to smell like that treat. Then you're going to present your hand to the dog, and once the dog touches their nose to your hand, you're going to say yes and then give the treat from behind the back. When you do this, you want to make sure that the dog's nose is the thing that is moving. The nose to the hand is what is moving. It's not your hand to the dog's nose. So don't push your hand into the dog's nose. Your hand needs to stay still. If your dog doesn't get it at first, just drop your hand down again and reset. You want to give your dog 3 to 5 seconds to figure out what's expected of them before you reset that hand. So in this video, now I'm showing you how to work the touch in a standing position. For nervous dogs, we want to start it out with us kneeling down, and then from a stand, we're going to slowly present that touch hand to the dog and reinforce for that nose target. When we stand up, we're in a more intimidating position, and when our hands move down to our side, it's a little bit more chaotic of a motion. So we want to try and do the hand presentation very slowly and controlled so we don't spook the dog. And guys, as we drop that touch hand down, we're going to say the word touch as we do it. So we say touch, yes, and treat. Say touch, yes, and treat. And again, if the dog didn't touch our hand within those first 3 to 5 seconds of presentation, like right now, we're just going to wait for her to figure it out. If she doesn't get it, we would just reset. So we just drop that hand down again. Notice how close I'm starting up to her face. We can't expect Ivy to understand touch from a long distance away at first, so we're just going to start right up close to her face. I'm starting to toss treats away from me to reinforce so that I can create some distance between me and her, because I'm challenging her a little bit and asking her to touch my fingers from farther away. Repetition with this is everything. So the more and more you repeat, the better. As your dog gets better, you can require them to touch from a farther distance. But when you start, again, you need it to be right up close. So now I'm challenging her even more and starting to move my body around, causing her to have to turn around and find that touch hand. You can also use this skill, in addition to moving a dog from point A to point B, you can start to use it to get them off of furniture, get them off of jumping on people. And the way that we want to start to introduce that is by training the dog to touch our fingers with some momentum. So in this video, you'll see how I'm taking a step back with my leg that I'm asking her to touch on. So if I'm asking her to touch with my left hand, I'm going to take a step back with my left leg to make room for her to touch. And that's going to increase lots of momentum and drive into my hand so that I can get better at asking her to touch off of furniture, touch away from jumping on guests, touch away from trying to pull me to go to a smell on a walk. So this is how you teach them to have that momentum. All right, so your dog's good at touching your hand. Now we're going to get him started on touching a touch stick. This touch stick telescopes. I'm going to start with it being really small. And again, start by rubbing the food all over top of the end of the touch stick so that I can increase the chances of Elsie wanting to touch it. And I'm going to present it. So I'm going to flop it down there and then wait for her to touch it and mark it and say yes and give her a treat. Touch, yes. Touch, yes. So training a dog that's nervous to touch an object instead of a hand is a great way, I feel, to have a dog bond with a stranger. So if a dog was nervous about interacting with a new guest and wasn't feeling comfortable enough to walk up to them to touch their hands, we can try and have that guest present them with an object like a touch stick that the dog might feel more comfortable targeting. And then the relationship from there can grow. As she gets better at this, I'm going to increase the length of the touch stick. The longer the touch stick is, the scarier I feel the object is to the dog. So that's why I'm starting it off as being very short, and then I'm going to gradually make it longer. Again, giving her 3 to 5 seconds to figure out what I'm asking her to do before I reset. So now I'm going to make it longer and see how she does. Nice. And she has to touch the end of it. So she's only getting a treat if she touches the red part. She's not getting a treat if she touches the silver stick. It has to be a little red foam ball at the end. So now it's going to be its full length. We're going to see if Elsie can get it. And there she goes. Good job. So this is touch targeting an object. And you don't have to get a touch stick to do this. It could be a wooden spoon. It can be a yardstick. It can be any kind of just longer object that you have at your home that's easy for you to hold in your hand. Nice. Good job, Elsie. Awesome. So that's how you train a dog to nose targets your hand and other objects. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Thank you. Bye.